title. At this time, please welcome to the stage your 2022 chapter president, Ian Nichols.
And of course, my pages are all messed up. Good evening. My name is Ian Nichols, and I'm the Senior Director of Finance and Accounting at Flywheel Capital, a proud sponsor of this year's Challenge Project, Peak Innovation Park. Before we begin the program, I would ask your undivided attention and respect for those on stage throughout the evening. Please remember that there will be additional networking following the program at the hotel's lobby bar from 8 to 10, with complimentary drinks provided by Brew Bockel Capital Partners. Now, it's with much pleasure and excitement that I welcome back our live audience of over 600 students, special guests, and industry professionals from 200 plus companies to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge. Woo! Over the past 20 years, the challenge has become a catalyst for some of the highest profile, most impactful, and innovative public-private projects in Metro Denver, such as Market Street Station, the Coliseum River North Wine Coop, 61st and Pena Station, and 9th and Colorado, better known as 9 & Co. In 2021, we expanded the challenge beyond Metro Denver, featuring our first mountain property, the town of Minturn's Dow Junction. For the first time in challenge history, this year's competition site is located in Colorado Springs, an energetic market with strong job growth and one of the most desirable places to live in the country. As we move into the next decade of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge, NAIOP Colorado and our challenge leaders are more committed than ever to continue our excellence in real estate competitions, helping develop next generation thinking in real estate and community development. Thank you again for joining us tonight as we celebrate the challenge's 20th anniversary. We have a great show in store for you. And now, please join me in welcoming to the stage Vice President of Commercial Development with Coble & Company and our 2022 Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge Chair, Luke Cannon.
Thank you, Ian. It is great to see you all here in person tonight. We have got a really special event tonight. It's a full program, so we appreciate your attention, and we can make our way through and all make our way to the after party. 20 years ago, the NAIOP Real Estate Challenge was just an idea. Today, the challenge is a nationally recognized development competition and the annual highlight and networking event for Colorado's real estate community. Since 2003, over 650 student competitors from CU, DU, and CSU have competed in the annual challenge. $120,000 in scholarships have been awarded, over 10,000 attendees hosted, and more than 25,000 volunteer hours have been donated by industry resources, which include judges, committee members, and architectural and development resources from Colorado's real estate community. Without the support of the university and the greater real estate community, the challenge would not be possible. Some of you may be wondering why I brought a beer to the stage tonight, and that's because I think we all deserve a toast. So please raise your glasses and join me in a toast to the dedication of the universities and real estate industry for the collective support of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge and the future of our industry. All right, I know we're all eager to get to hear about the students' plans for Peak Innovation Park. First, allow me the privilege of acknowledging some very important contributors that make this event a reality. I want to start by thanking the dedicated volunteers on the challenge committee, whose names are listed on the screen. Maybe. We'll have them all stand up. These members identified a subject site, They prepare the case statement, they recruit architectural resources and judges, and they finally prepare for and market this event that you're all at tonight. The Challenge program is a year in the making, and without them, it wouldn't be possible. I'm personally grateful to the committee for all their work this past year, and I'd also especially like to thank NAIOP members, Jim File, and Kathy Barsner. At this time, committee members, Jim and Kathy, please stand up. We are also very fortunate to have several important guests with us this evening. From Land Title Guarantee Company, our major challenge sponsor, President John Frere, who you will hear from shortly, as well as commercial sales representatives Luke Davidson and Mindy Humphrey. From the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC, Chief Economic Development Officer Cecilia Harry. Guest judge and NAIOP Corporate Chairman Jeffrey Milanick with Bridge Industrial. At this time, can you please all stand and be recognized? Tonight we have the opportunity to view the development possibilities for Peak Innovation Park in Southeast Colorado Springs, collectively sponsored by Urban Frontier, the Colorado Springs Airport, and Flywheel Capital. Those shareholders with us tonight from Peak Innovation Park include Garrett Baum, Bill Branyan, and Zach Knight with Urban Frontier, Greg Phillips, Troy Stover, Patrick Bowman, and Dana Jackson with the Colorado Springs Airport, Ben Hirota, John Feffley, and Ian Nichols from Flywheel Capital. Please join me in giving a welcome round of applause for our special guests. Thank you for Peak Innovation Park shareholders for their collective support of NAIOP, the university, and the students. We will hear from Urban Frontier and airport reps later this evening about their plans for the site. At this time, I would like to introduce Ben Hirota, managing partner of Flywheel Capital, to say a few words.
Welcome, everybody. This is an exciting evening, and I'm glad I'm not a student anymore. Special thanks to Kathy and Jema for everything that you've done. It is super exciting to be back after almost 3 years. I cannot describe to you how exciting it is. So, is that our... It's a dance party, actually, is what we got going on tonight. So we are here really more as support than a sponsor. We are here to support Urban Frontier and to support the airport in their vision for Peak Innovation Park. We are a very small portion of the project, and so we are here to really support them in everything that they have envisioned. Why we got involved? We got involved because, frankly, there is so much happening in Colorado Springs that it is unbelievable what's going on. And I think you're going to hear that tonight from the students. You're going to see that with their projects and their presentations, and it's exciting. There is a lot of things happening up and down the Front Range. It is a good time to be in Colorado right now. And so we are excited to be a part of it. And this project, quite frankly, is a testament to what happens when people come together and work together. You've got the public component, you've got the private component, and you've got everybody working together towards a common goal. And you're going to see that tonight. And so it's super exciting. So it takes everybody to make it happen. It takes everybody to see the vision and to make it happen. And we're a very small piece of that. So I'd like to say thanks to Garrett, to the airport, to Greg and Troy for your vision, letting us be a part of it. We're truly thankful. And I hope you guys all enjoy your evening and the student presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And again, our partners with Peak Innovation Park for sharing this development opportunity, which will impact the future of Colorado Springs as well as these students' careers. Events like the Challenge cannot happen without the involvement of all of our corporate partners. We would like to thank tonight's supporting sponsors, our media sponsor, Colorado Real Estate Journal, our highly regarded 2022 corporate sponsors whose names are listed on the back of your programs, scholarship sponsor, the Opus Foundation, kickoff sponsor, W.E. O'Neill, and of course, tonight's after-party sponsor, Brewbuckle Capital. Let's give our sponsors a round of applause. Now I'd like to recognize the architectural firms who served as invaluable resources for the students. We had 4 teams this year, 2 teams from CU and 2 from DU. Each team was paired with a firm that volunteered their time and energy to work hard and hand in hand with the students to bring their developments to life. A plaque will be given to the architectural firms in appreciation of their efforts. With those firms and their team members, please stand at your tables and be recognized, and I'd like to ask the audience to please hold off on your applause until I name all of the companies. For the University of Colorado, Page, and representing tonight's finalist team, Intergroup Architects, and the firms that supported the University of Denver, Gensler, and representing DU's finalist team, RTA Architects. We're very honored to have you with us tonight, and we really appreciate all of your contributions. 2022 marks the 10th year of Land Title Guarantee Company's pledge to support the Real Estate Challenge. As the presenting sponsor for this event, Land Title helps ensure the long-term ability of NAIOP Colorado to support the future leaders in our industry. In recognition of Land Title's commitment to NAIOP Colorado and the Real Estate Challenge, we would like to present Land Title with their annual mini NAIOP Cup. Please welcome to the stage John Freyer Jr., President of Land Title Guarantee Company.
All right, we got 10 of those in Luke's cube at the office, so Luke, some more hardware for you. I wrote some notes so I wouldn't screw this up. Let's hear it for Luke. You know, being the chair of this thing, everything's planned, you come out prepared, and then at the last minute, stuff changes, and he's been super cool tonight, so congratulations. Let's hear it for Luke. I just got to say how excited we are to be back in person, to be the sponsor for the 20th annual Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge. 10 years we've been the sponsor, but the fact that we're back together after 2 years of a hybrid, virtual and in person. So hats off, sincere congratulations to Kathy, to Jama for getting this back together and getting us in person. So thank you, ladies. Obviously want to say thank you and congratulations to the NAIOP board, the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge Committee for putting on a great event. It's wonderful to see the challenge reaching outside of Metro Denver, Minturn last year, Colorado Springs this year. Obviously one great state, we grow together, so to see NAIOP reaching outside is fantastic. Ben said a lot of great things, I know Luke and Ian have as well, but I just want to highlight the students, CU, DU, to think of what students have been through the last couple of years that have been at school, the professors, to be here tonight. Really sincere congratulations and thanks to them for the effort that they've put forth and to those advisors and companies that supported them getting this far. Congratulations to the teams that are here tonight. And then I would be remiss not to point out the wonderful folks we have from Land Title, the arrows that go off throughout the year and in the night. You all know Luke and Mindy. They are all over apparently every committee that we have at NAIOP and the challenge. But we also have here tonight Tom Kimball, who's on our sales team, Tom Blake, who runs our commercial closing team. We've got Colin and Megan from the closing team, Abby on the sales side, George Reich on the title side, and then from the Springs, folks that have worked on Peak Innovation Park, Brandon Straub and Robert Hayes. So congratulations, thanks to the Land Title guys for being here tonight. And then the last thing I would point out, and Ben touched on it, you know, when you think of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge, it's a great partnership between business and higher ed, and it culminates tonight. And when you think of Peak Innovation Park, it's similarly a great partnership, a P3 with the government, the City of the Springs, the airport, partnering with the Flywheel guys and the Urban Frontier team. And so I would just say it's wonderful to see these things coming together, and I'll make a plea to all the talented folks in this room. We need more folks running for local government positions, whether it be RTD, transportation, city council, municipal positions, because if we don't have business-minded folks in those positions, it's going to be hard for Denver to continue, and Colorado, to continue to grow and progress in a way that attracts business. So we have great programs. Thank you. The Metro Chamber and their leadership programs, the Downtown Denver Partnership, if you're interested, please look into those organizations. So thanks again for letting us be a sponsor for the 10th year. Have a wonderful night. Good luck, students. Thanks.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you and your team's entire team's support at Land Title. For 20 years now, you've all heard about the amount of time and energy it takes to make the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge the event of the year. Before we see what the student teams have come up with the Peak Innovation Park site, I'd like to take a moment to learn more about the project and look at the efforts in preparing for tonight's competition.
We are excited to bring you the 2022 NAIOP Colorado Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge, presented by Land Title Guarantee Company. This year's event marks the 20th anniversary of this prestigious and award-winning program. Our 2022 project site is focused on Peak Innovation Park in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and is sponsored by Urban Frontier, the Colorado Springs Airport, and Flywheel Capital.
It's important to participate in this challenge because it's the 20th anniversary. And this is the first time that the challenge has come to Colorado Springs. I am so excited about that. I want people to know about Colorado Springs and especially this district. This district that you are in, the City Council District, is the most diverse district in the entire state of Colorado. I think that's why it's so important. This is a really key area next to the airport. The airport is booming, and we're encouraging people to use our airport so they don't have to drive up to Denver, and they are here right in Colorado Springs.
We are ready for growth in Colorado Springs. And so it's a wonderful time for these students to learn about why our market is so hot and why we have a need for these sorts of ideas and innovative solutions on a real estate side, and getting their ideas and actually bringing them into reality.
Colorado Springs has seen so much growth in the last few years, and at the airport it has just been phenomenal to see how Peak Innovation Park, our 900-acre non-aeronautical business park, has grown. So to take the opportunity with students from CU and DU to look at a piece of that parcel, of that business park, and how it could be developed and get some great ideas, it couldn't be more exciting.
The challenge site that we selected is a 25-acre parcel right in the entry of Peak Innovation Park. It's kind of one of the crowning jewels as you come into the park on your way to the airport. So it could really be a mixed use, it could be hospitality, it could be, it could be a lot of different things. And that's why we picked it, was the number of different opportunities that it presented.
The site location is really at the front door of the airport. It's highly visible. It's going to be a main location as the entire Peak Innovation Park gets built out. It is prime time visibility.
This is one of the largest, if not the largest, development sites in the state. And so the ability to have a spotlight shown on it so everybody can see what's happening down here at the airport and in Colorado Springs, I think, is huge. So I'm excited. I'm happy for the attention that this site is going to get because it's a really exciting development.
This program kicked off in January at the National Museum of World War II Aviation in Colorado Springs near the Colorado Springs Airport. The kickoff event included a tour for all competing students, as well as the jury that will be making the decision of who our winner is tonight. Along with the tour, an overview of the project and the sponsor's key objectives were provided to the students and jury.
Colorado Springs, the mayor, city council, staff, planning staff, engineers, the business community could not be more thrilled that the focus of this challenge is first in Colorado Springs and then also here at Peak. So, we want to see what ideas you have. We love to see how you put your financial models together and what you envision, because I can tell you that what we put together 5 years ago and expected to happen between then and now has changed so significantly. And I know that with what you have planned and what you foresee and envision, hopefully you can help assist take this project to the next level. And we're real excited about the ideas that you have for this particular site as well as for Peak overall.
Following the kickoff event, the students spent the next 3 months digging in and working through their development plans to present at each school's internal competitions that were held in April. From these internal competitions, a winner from each university was chosen who will be presenting here to you tonight and will be competing for the coveted NAIOP Cup.
This is a super interesting case. Just in driving around today and looking at it, it's not obvious at all what the answer is. And the opportunities are so enormous. The challenge is going to be trying to rule out all of the many opportunities and figure out what might be best. And we've seen cases where it's kind of straightforward. You go, it's going to be that, and here's how we do it. This is really a blank sheet of paper. This is truly an open field. I think that's going to be the challenge, but that's a great learning exercise as well, and very hard to replicate that in the classroom.
I think the challenge for students with this site is just that the sky's the limit. There's so many different opportunities with what they could do with this location and how they could integrate it, that it's going to be hard for them to narrow it down to a cohesive plan.
I love the energy about it. I think every year it's a new surprise about where we're going to be, and the opportunity statement is it really is a challenge for the students because they are given a set of demands that is unreasonable, internally inconsistent, and in its way impossible. And there you go, and you got to figure that out, and you have to make really hard decisions about trade-offs. And at the end of the day, you're probably going to feel really good about what you did, and you're also going to be really scared about the things that you missed. And that's the beauty of it, and that's the reality of real estate.
This event, this program is incredibly important to our program, our real estate program at the University of Colorado. And I'm speaking with our colleagues at DU, it's equally important. It helps us raise the profile of education in the state of Colorado and really to an amazingly high level. And it gets national recognition through NAIOP. So, it's good for the students, but it's also good for the universities, and it's good for our real estate centers, and it's good for the future of Colorado and the country.
At this point in time, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a special individual. In 1988, Tom Bisaquino joined the NAIOP National Staff as Senior Vice President and Chief Operations Officer. He became President and CEO in 1991, and throughout his tenure, the association has grown to serve more than 20,000 members across North America. He has led the organization through a variety of economic cycles and one unprecedented pandemic. Tom has announced he will be stepping down later this summer. So I'd like to ask you to please join me in thanking him for his dedication to the industry. Now for the unfortunate news. Tom was originally scheduled to MC tonight's presentations, but he unfortunately was unable to make it. The worst news is you're now all stuck with me. At this point in time, I would like to invite Jeff Malanek to the stage to give us an update on NAIOP Corporate.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for having me. First of all, I would like to also ask for a round of applause for Tom because it seems NAIOP events happen. You guys are special because you have such great leadership. The amount of time, energy, and focus and attention on all the political issues don't happen by accident. It takes time, dedication. Ian, Kathy, and Tom, I just want to give you all a big round of applause. So since Tom's not here tonight, tell a little bit of a story. So I've been involved in NAIOP for quite a number of years. Got involved in the late 80s when I was 16, if you buy that. But it's really where I learned the craft of real estate, was plugging into my New Jersey chapter. And because I had learned and gained knowledge and experience, I decided to give back, as your leadership has, joined committees, president, ultimately worked my way up through the corporate board. And last fall, I was elected chairman for 2022 at the national level. So I connected with Tom shortly thereafter in January. He said, okay, we haven't been doing any traveling. As you folks all know, the real estate business is a business of relationships. Honestly, has little to do with buildings. My opinion, everything to do with people. Tom says, okay, we're going to get aggressive and you'll make up for lost time. Terrific. So I'm proud to say I've achieved 1K Platinum sponsorship on United since January. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it's been a true blessing and a treat for me to travel. However, when I was talking with Tom in January, he said, okay, a couple of business issues to take care of. By the way, at the corporate level, Liz Green, our CFO, is retiring on June 30. Okay, well, we'll get a hold of a search firm and we'll find it. And he says, and so am I. I said, excuse me, what? He says, and so am I. I said, you did not tell me that. He says, well, of course not. So it's been an interesting year to kind of look at, reprioritize things that are important to NAIOP members. Because NAIOP is not an organization about what occurs in Washington. It's about what occurs here. It's about what occurs in Jersey, about what occurs in Tulsa, where I was last week. We're here to serve you, the members of this. So it's been a challenging year in that we went through a process with the search committee of understanding where we are. And Kathy has has assisted me on several occasions with kind words and assurance that you won't lose your mind, Jeff, to stay the task. And we are now coming to the conclusion of that, and we are in good hand as any. But I will say this, what we learned in this process with NAIOP is, and I think some of it had to do with pandemic. We all didn't know where the world was going, right? My house, I have 4 sons. I had 6 people, a daughter-in-law who was expecting, and a beagle. And things got really interesting several nights a week in that house. But my daughter-in-law became my favorite when she figured out if she showed up at my office door with a bourbon at 6 p.m., she'd be my favorite, and she still is. But you know what? It taught us a lot about ourselves and what our priorities were. But coming out of it, we learned that we could survive it. And at NAIOP Corporate, you know, as I was vice president, we hunkered down. We tried to figure out how do we keep it all alive? Because again, here to serve you, the members, we had to be a resource of education, of assurance, of letting you know what Capitol Hill was doing. God knows we don't really, but you know, trying to understand how to help navigate and be resources for all of our members. And I think we did a pretty good job, hopefully, and maybe not everybody agrees, but by and large, everybody seems to agree. I don't know that we're through the challenge yet. I've been around this business a long time, and I was referred to as Nostradamus in a meeting last week because I said, something's coming in 23, guys. Are we ready for it? The world's changing, right? We talked about it a little bit today. We talked about it tonight. Another unprecedented series of events in the world, and certainly what's going on in the country with the economy. But we're here. We're ready for it. We've all been through these cycles before. And our commitment to you at NAIOP is to be there for you. Now, part of that, though, is we need to hear from the chapters, and we don't take that lightly. And all the board members that are here, you're going to be getting information, asking for feedback on a strategic plan, which we were supposed to do this year, but because of the situation with the job positions, we decided to kick out to next year. And I'm going to say, starting with me, I'm going to take it really serious because we learned a lot of things that we need to improve. But it starts here, it starts now, and it starts in this room. And we are just super excited about the future. I'm not hesitant about anything the future has to throw at us because we are one heck of a resilient industry. And I think we all recognize that. So as we say down at corporate, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, as I heard earlier today. So get involved in local politics, get your voices heard, talk to your chapter representatives, and let us in Washington hear what we need to do to make this organization serve you better. Lastly, the reason I first came out was to visit chapter because I'd heard so much about this challenge. I'm on a couple of real estate boards myself, and we have our challenges, and I was told this one is really big. And I was like, oh, okay. And as I walked in the room tonight, this looks like a national NAIOP convention. So it is really exciting to see the support for these students. And then at the last minute, they said, hey, we have an opening. Would you like to be a judge? So I had the pleasure and honor, and I mean that sincerely, of reviewing the materials, listening to the presentations, working with the fellow judges. And if what I experienced today with your membership and your volunteers is only half of what they do, and I know they do a whole lot more, the support, enthusiasm, and willingness to give to students who are our future is astounding to me. So I'd like to thank you for inviting me, allowing me to participate in the event, and certainly as during the cocktail hour, had a chance to spend time with these students. I applaud them. They are the future of our business. And again, thank you all for having me tonight.
Thank you, Jeff. We really, truly appreciate your support. The students who get to be a part of this challenge are a powerful reminder of why we should be confident in our next generation and Colorado's future. The video we just saw earlier truly puts the year-long challenge process into perspective and demonstrates the true scope of work it takes to make the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge a reality. You saw the students have been working all semester for a chance to compete here today. These top students began at noon presenting their plans to the judges and opening up their work to a lively round of questions by those judges. The judges have put in countless hours reviewing the books, visiting the site, and grilling the students, and their job isn't done yet. After the students wow with their presentations, the judges will be asked to make their final decision. The students will be judged on the written redevelopment plan, the judges' Q&A held earlier today, and the presentations we are all about to see. For a complete list of the judging criteria, please refer to the programs at your tables. These judges aren't just any real estate professionals. They're icons in the industry, and their efforts tonight deserve recognition. Judges, please stand. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. A coin toss at the kickoff event determined who goes first tonight. And back to defend their title from 2021, please welcome the University of Colorado Skyview team to present Panoramic Park. Team members include Derek Lang, Ryan Azima, Cole Milico, Gabriela Halut, and Brickman House.
Love the emotion. We are waiting a little bit for the slides to come up here. There we go. Sorry, everyone. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Happy to see all these beautiful faces here. You all look amazing. Hopefully not better than us because we tried pretty hard. But we are Skyview, the development team, and we're going to talk to you about our plan to integrate this site within Peak Innovation Park. And with that, I would first like to describe our team just very quickly. I am Brickman House. I'm joined by my teammates, Cole, Gabriella, Ryan, and Derek. We all have a very diverse background in real estate. Understandably so, we did integrate ourselves within Colorado Springs to make sure that we were gaining all of the necessary information from the professionals that are located there to make sure we hit every nook and cranny as we were putting this site together.
When conceptualizing our vision, Skyview placed heavy emphasis on three main pillars, the first one being togetherness, the second one being our position within Peak Innovation Park, allowing us to contribute to its growth, and the third one being innovation, not only within the park, but also the airport and Colorado Springs as a whole. And these three led us to a destination that provides community benefit for all.
And with that, we'd like to highlight that we did build this site to be community-driven, knowing that it's close to the airport. We wanted to not only help the airport, but also help the community to indirectly help the airport as we move forward. So as we talked about the project goals that you can see on the left, there are a few main things that we wanted to highlight, and one of those, or a few of those, being placemaking with walkable bike paths that go in and out of the site, along with creativity for the airport, incorporating a lounge that has some integrated things that relate to the airport as well, along with the cost recovery that integrates long-term leases and sustainability for public transportation and buildings that are solar ready.
And as we drove down I-25 south to southeast Colorado Springs to our 25-acre greenfield just adjacent to the airport, we saw the site as a gateway to Peak Innovation Park, the 900-acre master plan community that already offers hospitality, industrial complex, and office space to its tenants in southeastern Colorado.
And with that, we'd like to talk about Panoramic Park, a place for sky-high views, or sky-high goals. And this is a place that we like to incorporate through the Peak Innovation Park, as well as understanding that we have a connection to the airport. We will talk about permitted uses that we decided upon and why the site is laid out the way it is.
And as you drive east on Milton Proby, the highway that goes to and from the airport, the only highway that's going in and out, you'll first see our sports complex. That's our community pillar to bring in all the residents of southeastern Colorado Springs to Panoramic Park, followed by our convenience store and quick access breakfast options in the middle of our park that also meets our parking needs for the entire park, followed by our incubator office and retail space. And down below that, you're gonna find our dining options and single-story retail.
So as Ryan said, our sports complex is supposed to be our main community pillar, and it's meant to bring families together, spark healthy, friendly competition within the community, and also promote a healthy lifestyle. The sports complex also provides year-round usage and has 18+ operational hours per day.
And then diving into the sports complex and understanding a little bit more of that, we believe that there can be two sides that can be used for this, one incorporating an ice rink and then the other side incorporating a turf field. And then in the middle, there will be a two-story amenity, which the first story will be a main walkable check-in space. And then the second story will incorporate more of a dining brew option. For those that want to come and watch a loved one play and enjoy some food or a drink, or those that just got done competing and wanted to hang out with some friends and have a beer and talk a little bit.
And Skyview Lounge is a hub for airport users, where it provides them with a waiting area with quick dining options, as well as arrival and departure monitors.
And then moving forward to the drive-through, we had a Colorado Springs citizen come to us and say that this is the fast food capital of Colorado, and we did take that into consideration, understanding that, how true or untrue that may be. We believe that a drive-through can flourish in this space, integrating the fast traveler that's going through the airport or the local employee that's just trying to get some quick breakfast or quick coffee, and we could see a space like Dunkin', Starbucks, or Einstein Brothers working out in this space.
Moving over to our mixed-use center, the idea behind this was to build a vibrant community in southeastern Colorado Springs, understanding that there is a disparity between the income in the northern part of Colorado Springs down south, and this is going to offer an incubator space for recent college graduates, recent veterans, and disenfranchised people in southern Colorado Springs to start their entrepreneurial career, as it's very popular among 20 and 30-year-olds, not to work for someone else, but to start their own business and establish a business growth that could be sustainable not only for Peak Innovation Park, but southeastern Colorado Springs as a hotel, as in all, and then also incorporating the hotels adjacent to us in workspace, as we understand that they don't have a meeting space, they don't have office space to work if contractors come in town or other people fly in for the week and they need a space to work.
And then moving more to understanding why we chose this retail and office space, we did incorporate this because, as the research shows, most of the businesses within Colorado Springs are quite small, making over 50%. And 34% is 1 to 4 employees, while 27% is 5 to 9 employees. And that incorporates over 50% of this space, of this market. And we believe that can really flourish within this office and retail environment.
So our single-story retail feature provides this walkable community for casual dining options. As we know, there's a very diverse cuisine within Colorado Springs. We're also going to have a brewery with a large patio featuring local Colorado Springs IPAs. Brickman is going to tell you all about our main dining option.
Yeah, the Brick House Pub, my favorite for a multitude of reasons, as many of you may understand. Y'all can buy me a beer if you stop by. But this is a great place. We do understand that there's some amenities here for open patio space on the bottom floor, as well as open patio space on the second floor. While incorporating some lawn games in the bottom floor, we have incorporated on both floors garage doors that can open, creating natural ventilation for all of those that are using the building and enjoying themselves. And then also, talking about sustainability within the site, we have incorporated 40% of open space, along with natural ventilation for a multitude of buildings, and then a few EV charging stations through the site, along with public transportation that can be incorporated with the site as well. And also understanding that these buildings are solar ready. It's knowing that we can cover each building with roughly 70% solar, incorporating about 17 watts per square foot to generate a multitude of electricity.
So to further drive home that community aspect, we felt it was only suitable to incorporate some artwork done by local Colorado Springs artists who have also won awards throughout the Springs. So we've been in contact with Byongdu Moon, who provided this lovely sculpture that we want to really feature and emphasize within our project. We also want to incorporate some wall murals to bring some life and to bring the essence of Colorado Springs to our site.
And moving over to our phasing plan, understanding that it's a 25-acre greenfield with a slight grade going down, east going west across Milton Proby, and how we have to accommodate for that. We decided to go with a 3-phase phasing program with 3 tiers per phase, in that we go horizontal, trailed by vertical, followed by our leasing, so that we could hit the market at the right time. And for our first phase, we decided to go with our convenience store and quick access breakfast for the Peak Innovation Park workers, and to accommodate parking, as we understand that it's lacking in the Colorado Springs airport for travelers or loved ones if they're waiting to pick someone up. Moving over to our incubator option to really activate the economy and business in southeastern Colorado Springs that it has been missing, followed by our dining options, because nothing brings people together like food. And last, but definitely not least, is our community pillar that's going to bring our residents in southeastern Colorado together in Panoramic Park and get more involved in the community, as we understand that to our east there are about 10,000 homes being built and ready to be delivered in the next 3 to 5 years, that this sports complex can be there as a family-oriented place. And then how we sourced our capital. We had 3 major equity partners between Chivas Capital, a large family fund that's invested over $600 million in Colorado to date, and willing to invest another $40 million in the fastest growing market in Colorado. Next, with this Colorado Springs Airport donating the land in an $8.8 million capacity to be an equity partner for roughly 17%, followed by Skyview. We sourced our funds from family and friends to get together $2.5 million. And then we took a 55% leverage. We did lock in our rates before the interest rates jumped up twice in the last 8 weeks. Yeah, I know. So we locked in at 275 over SOFR for our construction and 250 over SOFR rates that are projected for our permanent debt, with a 30-year amortization on our permanent debt, followed by our PIF funding, and that's to accommodate for sustainable aspects in our horizontal build with trees and open spaces and whatnot. That is $2.5 million, and that's based off future sales of our retail and convenience store in Panoramic Park. And then you may be wondering how we're going to use $120 million, and it was really hard to judge how those hard costs are going to look a year or 2 years out from now with so much inflation and macroeconomic events going on today. So we took a premium on top of what our local contractors in Colorado Springs told us to about $292 per square foot on our hard costs, resulting in about 66% of our budget, followed by our tenant improvements. And this is really going to deliver our incubator space so that these businesses, 1 to 4 people, 5 to 9 people that make up the majority of Colorado Springs, have an opportunity to start a business and close that disparity gap, because the hardest part of starting a business is having the money up front. If we can offer a turnkey retail shop or office to them, they can have the networking capital to get started on their business, followed by our soft costs, which include entitlements, legal costs, builders insurance, and then our land that came in from the airport. And we're going to hold and stabilize over a 5-year period as we operate Panoramic Park with a phased-in leasing plan. All leases are triple net with a steady rent growth of 3% that we understand is very feasible in Colorado Springs with 5 military bases and multiple universities. We might not see a 20% jump in Colorado Springs growth in the next 10 years, but can we expect 3% year over year consistent, stable growth in a business-friendly environment? Yes, we can. And then moving over to how our equity partners make money. They can expect to see a 7% cash-on-cash return annually, and that's in our 5-year period, returning almost $90 million over a 5-year period. Then us as Skyview exit at year 5, leaving to Chivas Capital Family Fund and the Colorado Springs Airport as the ground lease for a 35-year period, because when they invested in the property, they didn't want to get out in 4 years or 10 years. They want to sit and hold over a long-term steady income year over year, because they not only believe in Colorado, they believe in Colorado Springs and want to see this market grow.
And with that, we'd like to wrap up our presentation of Panoramic Park, a place for sky-high goals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, University of Colorado. Now it's time to see what DU's got. Please welcome the University of Denver's leading edge capital team to present their project, Pike's Landing. Team members include Alex Barber, Matt Baldwin, Ryan Dusick, Chris Kriegel, Jake Price, Sam Maddox, and Nick Reese.
Sorry, it seems like we're missing the clicker. Thanks, man. Oh, the wrong one. Wait.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for an opportunity. My team and I look at this year's 25-acre NAIOP site and see nothing but raw potential. And we are here to prove why Pike's Landing is the highest and best use for the site. Now, we are Leading Edge Capital. My name is Sam Maddox. With me is Alex Barber, Ryan Dusick, Nick Reese, Matthew Baldwin, Jake Price, and Chris Kriegel. And we are representing the city of Colorado Springs and their interests as landowners as we were tasked. So, to introduce you to our site, I'm going to hand things off to Matt.
Thank you, Sam. So Pike's Landing is poised to be the place for recreation and entertainment in Colorado Springs. The keystone of our site is the Heroes Event Center, which is modeled off of some of the most successful event spaces in the nation. This bookends our site along with a Pop Stroke, which is a unique golf destination that will bring in travelers from far and wide. Serving the travelers that visit these destinations will be a Maverick gas station and Niagara Car Wash, which will also serve the Terminal Auto Park, an exciting new real estate product that will be seen for the first time in Colorado Springs at Pike's Landing. Finally, the rest of the site will be filled with inline retail shopping and dining options, which we all really know is another form of entertainment. So the image that you see now is our vision for Pike's Landing. This is where you're going to go for a great day in Colorado Springs. Zooming out a bit to a bird's eye view, in the northeast corner in red is our Heroes Event Center, and then on the western side is our Pop Stroke. In blue, across the north side is our retail, and then below that is our automotive programming to the south. Finally, this 3D rendering shows what the entire site will look like once it's constructed, and this is what you'll see as you fly into the Colorado Springs Airport and take a peek out your window to see our site. Now I'll pass things on to Nick to tell us about the Colorado Springs market.
So why will Pike's Landing work so well for Colorado Springs? Well, to understand this, we need to know a little bit more about its growth. People want to live in Colorado Springs. Just this last year, it was rated the #6 best city to live in the country, and it continuously tops charts like these year in and year out. And as a result, population growth is between 2 and 3 times the national average over the last 10 years. And as a result of that, it is one of the hottest markets in the nation. And best of all, the best and brightest want to work in Colorado Springs too. 6.5% economic-based industry growth over the last few years. Amazon just built the largest building in 7 states right next door to Pike's Landing, employing 2,500 employees with another 2,400 employees scheduled to be onboard in the next few years. Northrop Grumman, 2,200 employees right next door. Aerospace Corporation, brand new headquarters, 3,600 employees right next door. All in all, this is a master plan that is calling for 318 acres of office park development. And Pike's Landing is at the center of it all. And so we designed it to be at the center of it all and to take advantage of this massive growth and to appeal to the needs of the Colorado Springs community, visitors, workers, and employers. Visitors are going to be able to be just a quick stop from the airport, have a hotel right across the street, and get a little taste of Colorado. Workers are going to be able to grab a quick lunch, get gas, and then share a drink with friends after work. Employers are going to be able to showcase new products and technologies and host corporate events. And the Colorado Springs community is going to be able to recreate, gather, and have a place to share the Colorado experience with their families. And we know this is possible because the Colorado Springs retail market is so strong. 600,000 square feet of net absorption just this last year, and 500,000 square feet of net absorption projected each year for the next 4 years. 5% retail rental growth forecast for this year, $19 per square foot, and of course 96% occupancy rate. So given these metrics, we know that this plan is not only feasible and practical, but it is going to fill the needs of the Colorado Springs community and Peak Innovation Park. And to tell you more about that vision is Sam.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most exciting pieces of our site's programming is the Heroes Event Center. Nothing like this exists in Colorado Springs. In fact, if you want to visit something like this in Colorado Springs, you have to get in your car and drive an hour north to Denver. Now, why are people going to come to this building? Well, it's not just another brewery. This 50,000 square foot event space does not just hold concerts 1 or 2 nights a week. There is a 60-foot, 8K HD LED screen, 2 full-service bars. Welcome to your new favorite place to watch sports. Additionally, there is a full concert venue. There are coin-operated games such as skee ball and bubble hockey, yard games such as washers and cornhole, and best of all, this site is programmed by Green Street Real Estate Ventures and their CEO, Phil Hulse, who are responsible for creating some of the most successful entertainment destinations in the country. Now, what is this going to do for our site? It's going to activate it 7 days a week. It's going to draw people in from further than a 30-minute drive time, and it's going to give Colorado Springs a sense of community that they can be proud of for years to come. Now, here's Ryan to talk about the rest of the retail.
Thank you, Sam. The shops and dining at Pike's Landing will be filling a huge retail gap of over $100 million. This gap surrounds a 10-minute drive time from the Colorado Springs Airport. The retail strip will be concentrated along Milton E. Proby Parkway, making it easily visible to all visitors of our site. The inline retail will be focused on fitting in with the surrounding culture of Colorado Springs, while the dining will feature many options ranging from fast casual to upscale choices. Not only will the shops and dining at Pike's Landing draw thousands of people to our site each day, but it will also complement the other uses on site, making Pike's Landing a destination. And the best part of it all is that we have received an LOI from the Arding Group, who will be taking control of our retail strip. Jumping into the experiential retail on site, we are excited to introduce a new idea created by Tiger Woods, which is Popstroke. Popstroke aims to be a social golf and casual dining concept available to players of all skill levels and ages. Located on the far west end of our site, it'll be sure to attract visitors each day to our site. It will also feature a main clubhouse that will host casual dining, a bar, and indoor golf simulators for the winter months. And we know that Popstroke will become a unique experience to eat, drink, relax, and enjoy some friendly competition on site. And with all that demand, I will now pass it off to Jake to talk about some necessary amenities.
Thank you, Ryan. As one of the main ways to get to Colorado Springs Airport being a vehicle, we thought the best use for our site would be a Mavericks gas station that you can also charge your electrical car. With almost $79 million of gas station retail gap within a 10-minute radius of our site, 4,500 cars passing per day, and that's not including rental car users, future hotel guests, office employees, and of course the next door terminal auto park. This site would be perfect for a Mavericks gas station to fulfill the refuel and charging needs of this untapped area. This image above shows the exact path rental car users will take to return their car. And when do we remember to fill our gas? Well, when you see the shop. And as you can see, our gas station is on that exact route. Maverick Gas will be located on the southeast corner of Pike's Landing, and it'll be easily accessible in just a right-hand turn off Proby. And it will include a Niagara car wash, which we have successfully received a LOI for, and it will be 7,300 square feet. But speaking of cars, here's Alex with the exciting new Terminal Auto Park.
Thank you, Jake. The Terminal Auto Park features one of the hottest emerging real estate products in the market, the automotive condominium. These unique offerings combine high-end self-storage with automotive culture and light industrial spaces that are also versatile enough to be used for anything from an office to an art studio. This automotive park also sets the stage for community-engaging events such as Cars and Coffee or formal car shows. The auto park will be anchored by the Terminal Auto Clubhouse, a place where enthusiasts can congregate and socialize that will also offer monthly vehicle storage as well as memberships to the larger community, so they as well can enjoy the numerous amenities such as a lounge, conference room, wash and work bays, as well as valet service to and from the airport. The comp set for this exciting offering has demonstrated high demand and rapid absorption, and Terminal Auto Park could be the first to the Colorado Springs market, a market which is car crazy. From the Pikes Peak International Raceway to the south, to the annual hill climb up the mountain, and the numerous car clubs in the community, Colorado Springs loves its cars. Furthermore, 4 out of the 5 comps you see here are directly adjacent to airports, demonstrating an obvious synergy between this product type and airport developments. And that rounds out our programming. I'll pass it on to Chris for phasing.
Thanks, Alex. Leading Edge Capital has closely examined both cash flows and construction sequencing to develop the best phasing plan for this site. Phase 1, starting after a year-long planning and approval period kicking off in spring of 2023, includes the Terminal Auto Park car condos and clubhouse, as well as the land lease to Maverick gas station. Moving into Phase 2, after a year-long construction period for Phase 1, we will have the handoff of the land lease to Green Street Real Estate, as well as a handoff of 10,000 square feet of land lease to Arden Group for retail. Following that, we'll move into Phase 3, starting in spring of 2025 and wrapping up over a 2-year period in winter 2027. We will hand off the remaining land lease to Arden Group for inline retail to match the market absorption for retail in Colorado Springs and allow us to spread out some of our site development fees. We were fortunate enough to work hand in hand with W.E. O'Neill Construction, who knows this site better than anyone in the state. With that, we were able to determine the total cost for the 3 main components that we will be constructing. The Terminal Auto Park condos, coming in at $8.6 million, will occur in Phase 1 and will kick off the cash flows for our site. Moving into Terminal Auto Park Clubhouse at just over $2 million will also occur in Phase 1. Project site development has been spans the total duration of the project starting in spring 2023 and wrapping up winter 2027. Now I'd like to hand it off to Alex, who will tell you how we plan on financing these construction costs.
Thanks, Chris. The first financing instrument we'll deploy on the site is a 3-year interest-only construction loan taken on by our development partners at Westfield to construct the Terminal Auto Park, with a total cost of $16.7 million, allocated 58% debt, 42% equity, based on a 1.2 debt coverage ratio. The condominium sales not only pay the balloon payment on the construction loan, but also serve to de-risk the site as well as capitalize future phases. For the retail section of our site, we've partnered with Arden Group, who will deploy a qualified opportunity zone fund to not only lease the land, but also to construct the improvements. For this, they can expect an 11.83 IRR, which is further bolstered by the opportunity zone advantages of an increase in basis and decrease of capital gains liability. This also has the advantage of limiting the city's cash outlay while also leveraging the opportunity zone status of the land. We've underwritten this project to a 10-year hold with conservative phasing, absorption, and escalations. Furthermore, our land lease strategy not only dramatically abates risk, but it also delivers steady long-term cash flows which are perfectly suited to the cost recovery model that the city operates under. Additionally, the max cash outlay for the city is only $9.7 million, which is remarkably 93% land basis. For this investment, the city can expect a 16.41 IRR, 12.22 cash on cash, and a 2.14 equity multiple. And now to summarize things, it's back to Matt.
Thanks, Alex. Now, one of the best parts about Pike's Landing that we haven't touched on yet is that Pike's Landing is not just a dream. It is hyper feasible. Between the portion of the site that we've decided to develop with Westfield and the various parts of the site that we have LOIs for, about 22.5 of the approximately 25-acre site is accounted for. That's 90% that has industry-backed confidence in this development. Pike's Landing isn't just the highest and best use for this site. It's also the most practical pathway to getting this site developed. So now, Pike's Landing is ready to be the crown jewel of Colorado Springs. Of course, we will anchor the site with 2 destinations, the Heroes Event Center and the Pop Stroke Golf Course that will draw people in. These people will have their needs met at the Maverick gas station and the Niagara car wash, which will also surface the workers in Peak Innovation Park and the visitors to the airport. Finally, the Terminal Auto Park will create a heart for our site that will give it identity and will give the car community in Colorado Springs a place to call home. Last but not least, the retail and dining options will be an oasis for the office workers that will fill the almost 400,000 square feet of office that's already planned. Finally, here are our acknowledgments. We want to thank everyone that came here to listen to us tonight and also everyone that helped us with our project. We really appreciate it, and we wouldn't be here without you. Thanks.
Okay, great job, University of Denver. Thank you. So at this time, the judges are going to be leaving the room to deliberate and cast their votes for the winner of the 20th anniversary challenge. While that will take a little time, we'll open it up and show a video that shows the judging process that happened here earlier today.
As the esteemed panel of judges are making their final deliberations and casting their votes to determine the winner of tonight's Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge, let's walk you through the process that led to the finalist team's presentations to you this evening. In preparation for the challenge, students and judges alike are provided a detailed case statement with the project sponsor's core objectives.
So step one of the judging process occurred at the kickoff last January. The judges gathered at the site, took a tour of the area, and learned the sponsor's goals for the project.
The work continues, and that leads us to your part.
The second step of the judging process started about a week ago when the judges received their RFP books from each school. These are 50 pages long, and the judges took several hours to go through those in details to make sure they fully understand the project.
The amount of work that these students put into this project is phenomenal, and it's demanding, and it's all compressed in a very short time. So I think it's a rigorous exercise for them, and my hat is off to them if they can pull that off in the middle of their school year.
Step 3 occurred today, where the judges spent over 5 hours watching the student presentations and grilling the students on all aspects of their projects. So quickly, the way the day goes, the students present, you have an hour question and answer session, students leave the room, and you guys have a half an hour to dig into the projects. And that's where the diversity of you all come in from everybody's perspective to say, from my experience, I see these pros and this con, and it helps everybody form a full perspective of the project.
After introductions, lunch, and some final instructions, the judges were ready for the team's oral presentation and intense Q&A.
So my advice to you guys is be positive, but do not hold back. This is where you get to dig in and ask the hard questions and see what they come up with for the answers. What's important for the audience to know is that this is not a predetermined event. When the students give their presentations here this evening, the judges vote after those, so they haven't made their minds up until they see the evening presentations.
So during the judging process, the judges are going to be focused on a couple different things. First, they're really going to evaluate whether or not the students are meeting the vision for the area. And what I mean by that is, the city, the sponsor, they all have visions for this particular area, and does the students' project meet that vision? The second thing they're going to be looking at is from a market perspective and a market absorption, lease-up rates, etc. How well do the students understand the market for what, for the different types of products that they've proposed? How does that actually fit into, real world? The final component that the judges will be evaluating is the financial analysis. How well did the students cover costs? Are their costs realistic? Are their returns realistic? So they're really going to be focusing on the numbers.
Remembering standing in the judges' room during our presentation is kind of a blur. It was an intense 20 minutes where we stood in front of 30 people and they were firing questions at us, and we had to stand on our toes, we had to be on our toes and answer our questions as succinctly and accurately as possible in order to overcome any objections they had. So it was a pretty intense experience.
After months of hard work, sleepless nights, and a most demanding day, who will take home the coveted NAIOP Cup? We'll soon find out.
Well, that was incredible. How about a hand for the two teams and their presentations there? It's also an incredible time for Colorado Springs. Within the last 3 years alone, we've seen the opening of the new U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum, the outdoor switchbacks professional soccer stadium, the new indoor Colorado College hockey arena, a new Summit House and fully rebuilt Cog Railway in Pikes Peak. Millennials, according to the Brookings Institute, are flocking to Colorado Springs at a higher rate than any other city in the country. It's a great time for developers in Colorado Springs. The airport, too, is a part of this renaissance, and what we've seen in the last 2 years alone, with the initiation of air service from Southwest Airlines, our passenger numbers are higher than they've been since 2008. Peterson Space Force Base, not Peterson Air Force Base anymore. Peterson Space Force Base, mission demands are growing at a stratospheric level. In addition to all that, though, the biggest news at Colorado Springs Airport is the growth of our 900-acre Peak Innovation Park. During the same 3-year time frame I mentioned, Amazon has built not one, not two, but 3 major facilities, including the building that's already been mentioned, a 3.7 million square foot fulfillment center. That's the largest building in, as you've already heard, 7-state area. Aerospace Corporation is finishing its $100 million fully secure space development lab. Flywheel Capital is building their first high-tech office building in the park, and the U.S. Forest Service will christen its new state-of-the-art firefighting base on the airport later this month. And just this last week, with Olive Real Estate, Ingrid and Jim over here, a new Marriott Residence Inn will start construction and hopefully be built within the next year or so. These are some of the reasons that the 80916 area code, the area code where the Colorado Springs Airport resides, was named by Realtor.com as the hottest zip code in the U.S. for 2021. And it's on that base that this year's NAIOP Real Estate Challenge was posed, and we couldn't be more excited. We couldn't be more impressed either by the incredible work of these student teams from DU and from University of Colorado. We're proud to have witnessed your work. You're all winners in our eyes. You are our future and the future of this industry. I can assure you we'll look closely at the designs for things we can incorporate into our business park. So I want to acknowledge our team, the team at Colorado Springs Airport, from Troy Stover, our assistant director, Dana Jackson, Patrick Bowman, and from Urban Frontier, our master developer, Garrett Baum, Bill Branyon, from Inertia Engineering, Bonner Gilmore and Jeff Moore, and to all the judges, developers, and architects who put the fine point on the pencil in this competition. Thank you. To Jama, Kathy, Luke, Ian, and the NAIOP team for putting this incredible event on. Thank you. Now I'll turn it over to Garrett, talk a little bit about the work in the park itself. Garrett has been a phenomenal master developer for us and for the work in the park, and has brought it from the ashes to where it stands today. Garrett?
Wow, this is pretty incredible. I remember coming to NAIOP meetings, attending NAIOP meetings in the early and mid-90s, and sitting in my chair and watching the presenters and thinking I knew something, and I really knew nothing. I felt like I was a knucklehead. And I have the opportunity to be here this evening and to work with NAIOP and all the people here and the students and the schools. And for me, it's humbling, and I'm honored. And thank you to NAIOP for allowing us to be the development that was the competition this year, and the first again in Colorado Springs. So thank you. I will talk a little about Peak, but I'll do that in a second. I was amazed with the students, their poise, the way they presented. I never would have imagined that I could present that way, and they're students. Oh, and by the way, Ben, I'd love to be a student again. But they really are incredible. Their vision, their determination, the way they present, and the numbers and the finance and the modeling, really very, very impressive, and kudos to them. NAIOP, Greg mentioned all the people at NAIOP that worked to put this together, to the other sponsors, really amazing. So Peak and why Peak? You know, it's a number of people mentioned that it's a 900-acre business park. A week ago, Colorado Springs actually added 750 acres, and it's 1,650 acres, which I believe makes it, if not one of the largest business park in the state. No residential, it's all commercial. The vision of the city of Colorado Springs, from the mayor, chief of staff, economic development, all of the great people we get to work with at the airport, it's really quite incredible to look at a venture between a really private and public entity to get something like this done. To both the DU and CU teams, I enjoy sitting in when you presented to the judges. Your ideas were great. When you're doing this for 30 years, you sort of get in a lull and think that the things you've worked on in the past are the things that are going to be successful in the future. We always try to develop and put things together so they can change. But your vision and your ideas are great, and I will tell you I'll be implementing the ideas from both of the teams, and I hope that in a couple of years we can be back again and talking about the successes because of the projects that you put together within Peak. Let's see. So I really want to thank everyone again. Peak, we've, over a 5-year period, we've added over 5 million square feet, which I think is unprecedented, and it's in a number of projects. Obviously, Amazon was a big part of that, but we're working together with Olive, with Flywheel, with SunCap, with many developers, many users. In addition to the 5 million square feet we have now, we've got almost a half a dozen deals in the work that are primarily user-driven that are going to add well over 1 million square feet over the next 18 to 24 months. So thank you for this opportunity. Again, humbled to be here. Feels like it's been a long ride over the last 30 years, but to watch these students is fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you, Garrett, and thank you, Greg. At this time, I'd like to invite Ben Hirota and Ian Nichols from Flywheel Capital to join us on stage for a token of our appreciation, a miniature version of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge Cup.
Don't ask us to wiggle. Yeah, that's a great. Oh, no. Ben, thanks.
Okay, we're almost ready to announce the big winner and award this year's NAIOP Wilkes Cup. Let's take a few moments to learn more about the Cup's namesake, Tracy Wilkes, founding member of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge.
I met Tracy probably in 1999 when I was asked by my then manager to join NAIOP. Tracy was just a very large figure from an icon standpoint that somebody you could look up to. But Tracy is also very approachable, and he was always very kind to me.
When I first met Tracy, he was a very established real estate professional that I looked up to, and this is some guy that I'd really like to get to meet and to know, because he was a player in this market and in this community. So it was fun to be able to see him from a new person to NAIOP, and eventually work shoulder to shoulder with him to really see the kind of talent and thinking and the thought process that he brought to this program.
I met Tracy through the Real Estate Challenge Committee, and my first impression was just his big laugh. He's just was a larger than life kind of guy, and he was really fun to be around.
I have been NAIOP Colorado's executive director for 23 years, and Tracy Wilkes was the first president that I worked with. You know, it's funny, I came on staff about 2 months into Tracy's year as president. And he and I joked later that I always thought in that first year that he hated me. And when I finally got the courage a couple of years later to ask him, he said, "No, I didn't hate you. I just didn't know you, and I didn't want you to ruin my year as president."
Tracy was magnetic. He was wicked smart, but he was super ornery. He never missed an opportunity to give me a hard time, which I greatly appreciated about him.
First of all, he was always happy and jolly. And second of all, he would always speak his mind. And sometimes it wasn't what you wanted to hear necessarily, but it was always something that was constructive and you could learn from and think about.
He was outgoing, a life of the party, and like one of the most gregarious kind of people I'd ever met.
The one thing I really remember about watching Tracy come to the meetings, and that is he would drive up in his convertible Corvette. Just a class act from day one. And very much we would have an opportunity to have a work session, but with a glass of Cabernet that just would kill. So that is how I think about Tracy, and that is a zest for life. And that's not to be cliche, but he truly understood it, and he represented that.
When I first started with Tracy, we only had about 200 members. And I really believe that his formalization of the structure is what launched NAIOP to be what it is now.
One of Tracy's biggest legacy items was creating the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge 20 years ago. I think he would probably call creating the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge one of the crowning, achievements of his career. And so I would really want people just to know how much he cared about the challenge and NAIOP as a whole.
Tracy's involvement in bringing the Real Estate Challenge to Colorado was a multi-year process. Tracy just kept pushing and saying, we need to do this. This is going to help us with our outreach to the future generations who will be us when we decide that it's time to retire and go do whatever we want to do in that life. We need that pipeline to replace us, and this is the way to do it.
Well, I see Tracy's role throughout the years with the challenge of continually coming to the table, not because he had to, but because he understood the value of the program on both sides of the table, both for the students as well as for the sponsors. And he knew what was good for the real estate community as a whole and how important the challenge is as far as one of those stepping stones. So he got it, he saw that. And as I participate further in the challenge each and every year, I see a little bit more about what Tracy was thinking about, a little bit more of a aha Tracy moment.
Tracy was passionate about the real estate challenge because I think he wanted the next generation of real estate professional to be thoughtful about how they approach the real estate industry, and that's across the whole spectrum. His heart was really the academic side of this and how this would benefit our region by helping the next real estate professional coming out of these schools.
He was so passionate about the real estate challenge because of what it gave back to the community, what it gave back to the students.
Tracy was fundamental to the challenge. And I think that needs to be said again. Tracy was fundamental to the challenge in that without him, we would not have the challenge. We would not be where we are today. The Colorado program has grown to be fundamentally the largest, most successful real estate challenge in the country. Yes, it has certain references to various programs throughout the country, but we have taken that and through Tracy's guidance and vision, taken that up a notch and set the bar to our own height.
Tracy not only pushed to get the program in place, but he was there on the committee for years and years and years. And he helped then establish what we now have as the Vision Committee, which is looking to the future for the real estate challenge and how are we going to continue to make it bigger and better for the students and for the chapter.
With the 20th anniversary of the Real Estate Challenge and now moving forward, calling the Real Estate Challenge the Wilkes Cup, I think is just a profound way to continue Tracy's legacy of passion and really showing what this means to the industry moving forward. What a great way to honor an amazing man who brought this program forward and then invested of himself heavily to make sure that it became what it is today, and it will absolutely influence now how it moves forward in the future. So the Wilkes Cup is a legacy worth naming after Tracy Wilkes.
I think it's so important that we are naming the trophy the Wilkes Cup. Tracy gave so much to this organization, and it's great to give back to him.
I think Tracy would chuckle at the fact that the cup has been named the Tracy Wilkes Cup because, as many people know, Tracy was Canadian and a huge hockey fan. So for him to think that the Real Estate Challenge Cup would be the Wilkes Cup, sort of along the same lines as the Stanley Cup. I think at first he'd be a little embarrassed because he never wanted to, be in the limelight. But I think secretly he'd be very, very happy.
I'm just so glad that I could call him a friend, and I'm so glad that he's a part of this real estate challenge and will live on, his memory will live on for as long as we do the challenge.
There is no other name for this challenge other than the Tracy Wilkes Cup. Drop the mic.
Okay, I promise we're almost there. At this time, I'd like to bring up to the stage Joe Swenson, Director of Real Estate Development with the Opus Group, to talk about the Opus Foundation's support as tonight's scholarship sponsor.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you. Appreciate it. Community stewardship is at the core of the Opus Group and has been a pillar of our history from the beginning. We give back to the communities where Team Opus members live, work, and raise our families. This is the 9th year that the Opus Foundation has been the scholarship sponsor of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge. And since 2000, the Opus Foundation has awarded $52 million to projects and programs that build our communities. The foundation awards over $3 million annually and supports organizations related to youth development, workforce development, community revitalization, and emerging needs. One of our local team goals is to not only financially support these groups, but to also lend our time,
and expertise to enhance the communities we develop within. This includes volunteering and working with at least one organization per project that Opus is developing. For example, we recently completed a 277-unit high-rise multifamily project called 1919 at Mile High, which is now leasing, and I can probably get you 1 month free rent, so tell your friends. For this project, we had associate engagement with two groups, the Colorado Youth for a Change, which connects youth with opportunities to get back into school, and the Sun Valley Youth Center, which is an after-school and summer program for kids 5 to 16. To echo some of the previous comments, this night is all about the students, and I would like to commend both DU and CU for continuing the tradition of the Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge. It's truly an excellent program, and it does a really great job engaging students with local real estate professionals. I do have to say go Pios, but I am looking forward to the announcement of the winning team. So congratulations to all.
Thank you, Joe. At this time, I'd like to call up a few individuals to the stage. Luke Davidson and Mindy Humphrey with land title carrying the prized NAIOP Wilkes Cup. Our guests from the Colorado Springs Airport, including Troy Stover, Patrick Bowman, and Dana Jackson. NAIOP Colorado Executive Director Kathy Barsner carrying the scholarship checks and certificates. And I'd like to remind the student teams, please remain at your tables until the announcement is made. If you are the winning team, please enter from my left. The runner-up, please remain afterwards for photo ops, and we can present you with your checks, certificates, and pose for pictures. Got it. Our winner this evening proposed a more viable, realistic, economic recovery model for the airport. They created a development plan with a strong mix of uses to activate the site and provide a community amenity. They successfully achieved more of the sponsor's overall objectives. Without further ado, tonight's winner is the University of Colorado, Skyview Panoramic Park. Derek Lang, Ryan Adzima, Cole Miliko, Gabriella Halute, and Brickman House. Team Architect, Intergroup Architects. If I can have the winning team join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th anniversary winner of the NAIOP Rocky Mountain Challenge Cup.
We'd really like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We worked with amazing people. Anyone that answered a phone call, email, or text from us that we've asked from Colorado Springs. And it was well over 100 people, and we couldn't be more thankful from people in NAIOP and Colorado Springs to be helpful and give us a community insight for what will be best fit for the community and help us in this learning experience. Specifically to our architect partners, I know I saw Bill sitting over there, and then I know I saw Les standing in the back. If any city had an unofficial mayor, it would be Les Kronfeld, because he knew every single person in Colorado Springs to put us in touch with, and they did not deny our phone calls. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thanks again to our sponsors, Land Title, Urban Frontier, the Colorado Springs Airport, Flywheel Capital, the University of Colorado and the University of Denver, the judges and everyone else who participated. While only one team was awarded tonight for their work, the reality is we're all in great shape, and we all win with these two great schools in our state. Just a few quick announcements, and everyone can go on their way to the after party. First off, I'd like to remind you, don't miss the free Real Estate on the Rocks networking event on May 19th at Edgewater Public Markets Rooftop Bar. And save the date for later in the year for NAIOP's largest networking events of the year. September 22nd, the NAIOP Great Developer Showcase and Expo, an in-person virtual property tour of sorts featuring developments from all of Colorado's submarkets. And October 6th, NAIOP Fight Night 2022, presented by CoStar Group at RealWorks in Denver. We would like to open up the call for anyone, male or female, to throw their hat in the ring and participate in this year's Fight Night and help raise funds for Denver's Children's Foundation. All looking forward to next year's 21st Anniversary Rocky Mountain Real Estate Challenge. If you have a slate you would like to present, please reach out to NAIOP. Next year's incoming committee chair, John Bachknight, selection committee chair, Al Caluzzi, or Jama File. Once again, thank you all for attending tonight. We really appreciate your attendance. We really appreciate your support. Look forward to seeing you at the after party in the hotel lobby bar, sponsored by Brew Buckle Capital. Thank you.
Okay, no, we need photos, so Susan, you're not going anywhere. But I want you to take your...